Hello and welcome to this Black Talk Media Project report for all of our donors who help support the work that we're engaged in uplifting Black voices, establishing media platforms to uplift those Black voices, and just a myriad of work that we have been involved in since 2008. COVID, this pandemic has had a big impact on people's finances, including businesses and of course nonprofits as well. And Black Talk Media Project is no different, and we're really hanging on by a thread here. We've never been able to raise much money, just enough to get by and pay the bills, so to speak, but we've never been able to raise enough money to, for example, pay the founder and president, yours truly, a salary for the work that he puts in, let alone unable to hire anyone else to help. Now, we've had volunteers over the years, but I think that people who work and put in that hard work should be paid. And I would like to eventually, be able to bring on some employees, be a job builder, if you will. Again, I followed the model of the National Public Radio. Y'all know it as NPR, which is a nonprofit station, and they get over 90% of their operating costs from the listeners. But unfortunately, you know, despite the millions of people that we've been able to reach through them downloading podcasts and listening to radio streams, visiting the website, it just has not translated into donations. Now we are now operating below, what we need to continue our operations. And so that's why I thought, well, maybe I need to make a Patreon. Maybe I need to do a little bit more in order to bring in the funding that we need. And so I'm just going to start, let's say, or every Monday morning, because I'm usually working third shift like I am right now, but every Monday morning, give a 7-day report of our distribution in terms of the media, and as well as discuss some of the other projects that we have going on. So this will be the first of those type videos that I will post to our supporters through the Patreon page. So let's go ahead and get into what I have to report. So let me share my screen with you all. Let's go here. We'll go ahead and close that window. But here is the Patreon account, the new Patreon account. Again, I will be uploading these videos to the Patreon account. If I make this one public, this will be the only one I make public, and the rest will be just for the Patreon donors. So as you can see, Black Media Matters is the headline of the page. This is set up again for the Black Talk Media Project, patreon.com/Black Talk Media Project. I do not plan to make, like, I see some of these other people, members only type videos, because I really don't have that much time to do things like that when I'm managing not just Black Talk Radio Network, but the other media operations. And then also I feel like all the media should be public. Okay, if we're really trying to help people with the type of content that we sharing, I don't want to monetize the content. I really don't. Because I felt like if that was possible, then all of those who are downloading now would at least make a donation or something, but I'll get into that later. But anyway, you'll find out a little bit about me, some of the work that I've done over the years. Again, Black Talk Media Project was created in 2008. Then the Black Talk Radio Network was created, and been going strong for, well, I shouldn't say strong, right? But we've been working since 13 years now? Yeah, I would say 13 years. So not just, doing online work, but also doing offline work in the real world. and trying to make an impact on the world. So y'all can read some of the work I've done on the Patreon page. So now let's get to some of the reports. I'm gonna take you behind the scenes of Black Talk Radio Network. Let me open up the front page. I was just working on something and had it up and then closed it. So this is the back end of the platform, blacktalkradionetwork.com. Been trying to do everything I can to keep the platform up and running. We don't bring in a lot of revenue from the podcasters. We just simply don't have enough of them. And then we don't allow the general public to join the platform. You have to have something constructive to add. As you can see, also have a digital media school where there are videos that a person can watch if they want to get into podcasting or digital radio broadcasting. They can find out how to do that free of charge. Again, we're a nonprofit trying to change the world through media, or at least make it a better place. So you'll find some of that content there. So let's go back behind the scenes here. So one of the things I wanted to show you was our statistics for podcasts. This is what I'm gonna be focused on every Monday, every 7 days, to try to show you, what we're distributing. So we have a third-party podcast statistics service through Blueberry. I've never figured out how to pronounce that name, Blubrry, but that's the name. And as you can see, in the past 7 days, I believe that is about 10,000. If you add up all the daily podcast downloads, it's going to be about 10,000 in that 7-day period. You got Monday with 1,726 or 1,726. Tuesday, a little less, 1,004. A little less on Wednesday, just over 1,100 with 1,103. Then Thursday, we're back up to 1,143, still, below what we started off the week, but closed out the week pretty strong with 2,339 downloads on Friday, and then 2,152 on Saturday. And on Sunday, Sunday's always a slow day for some reason, but 513 downloads on Sunday. So it's like Monday morning now, about 5 in the morning. Been up all night doing some work. So just wanted to show y'all, that I will be sharing these type of stats with you on a weekly basis. Now, I sent a different report out to the podcasters on the network as it breaks down, which podcasts had which downloads and what have you. But I've always approached Black Talk Radio Network as a collective and not individuals competing against one another. I mean, that's how it was actually founded in 2008 on another platform where you had all these different hosts. And it was like a competition and see, who could pull in the most listeners. And I was like, you know what? Instead of us trying to compete with each other like we're in some kind of contest, if we're, our goal is to share information with people that they can use to uplift our community. Hey, let's come together as a station. Let's come together as a collective, and thus Black Talk Radio Network, the platform, was born. All right, so it's never been about me, but it's been about we. All right, so now, one of the things here is I had this ad network software loaded into the platform, but we don't show ads like corporate ads or anything like that. The type of content that we do is not really corporate friendly. So you can imagine there's no corporations breaking down the doors to sponsor Black Talk Radio. But what these ads show is some kind of advertisement related to donating, of course, with a link to where they can donate to the nonprofit. And as you can see, these are the impressions in the last 30 days. When did I get this email? About 5 hours ago. In the last 30 days, you see all of these impressions. Look at that. That's like tens of thousands, 120,738 impressions. That doesn't mean it was that many individuals, but the individuals who were on the platform, any page on the platform, the ad for the donation button that they saw. So 120,738. And look, you can see in this column how many click to make a donation. So now you know why I'm doing all this extra stuff to try to keep the nonprofit afloat, and therefore Black Talk Radio Network afloat, and the other work that we do. See, a lot of people, they don't have the cost. When you're not hosting your own platform, let me stop sharing for a second. When you're hosting your own platform, that means that you have all the associated costs with hosting a platform. That means you had to pay your server costs, you had to pay for the traffic, the bandwidth, so to speak. Not only do we manage our own platform, but we manage our own radio server. So when I say own, we don't own it, but we lease servers, and we have to pay that monthly fee and then any associated costs that have to do with bandwidth. Okay, and we've been able to survive for the past 13 years, but it's looking kind of bleak now. And again, that's why I've created a Patreon account to try to get some support from outside of those who are downloading and listening to the radio streams. But when a lot of these content creators, they don't have those costs. Let's call it overhead. They don't have that overhead cost of YouTube is free. Facebook is free. All of these different social media platforms that allow you to upload and share content are free to the creators. And it should be free to the creators. But when you are, let's say, a Black person in a world that's still practicing racism, you always risk getting deplatformed if, as they call it, even though it's not your platform, but taking away that service from you if you run afoul of the so-called rules. Okay, so I'm not talking about producing any kind of extremist content. Some people, they do need to be banned from those platforms, but that's not what we do at Black Talk Radio Network. And why we try to utilize those free platforms, like the Facebook page has over 25,000 followers, and we do, share content from the Black Talk Radio Network to that platform. But my point is, a lot of creators don't have the overhead costs that Black Talk Media Project has for managing its media projects. All right, because we host the podcast, whether it's video or whether it's audio, we host it there. So if something gets taken down somewhere else, it's always still going to be up at blacktalkradionetwork.com. So let's continue the backdoor view. So let me see if I can find that. Yeah, here's the page. So yeah, that's just very discouraging when you have so many people who like the content, download the content, or view the content, but yet they don't want to help financially support it. We do have a few supporters, but it's probably less than 50. Yeah, in the 12 or 13 years that we've been online, a lot of times I've come out my pocket or donated plasma just to pay a bill, especially in the early going. So, I'm used to doing a lot with a little bit, but certainly, you know, times are tough right now during this COVID pandemic. All right, next page now. This is Blurberry. And I just wanted to show a complete history of downloads. So the total downloads that we've had, and we only started using Blurberry, I believe, in 2013. And we came online in 2008. And, you know, I was still learning at the time, but through Blurberry statistics, we've had 1,130,571 downloads. Now, we not only just serve content through our own platform, Black Talk Radio Network, but we pay for an account, a premium account on Blog Talk Radio. This is where I first started and discovered internet radio, and then figured out, you know, how to broadcast digital radio using open source software, just in case I got deplatformed, which at one time we were deplatformed on Blog Talk Radio. I shouldn't say deplatformed, but suspended a week. And the reason was because I created a channel called Black Talk Radio, and a lot of white people were complaining and saying that the name Black Talk Radio was racist and what have you. And I don't know if that particular employee still works there. But I felt like what he did was very unfair. And so that just gave me the incentive to create Black Talk Radio Network. Now, they did restore the account after 3 days and complaints from all the listeners about the unfair treatment. And so, you know, I went back to distributing on there. But again, it's nothing like having your own platform where nobody can take your voice away. If they do take something down, it is still up on your own platform. But over the years since I created this channel on Blog Talk Radio, distributing the podcasts of all of our media partners affiliated with Black Talk Radio Network, I've had 1,842,775 listens or downloads on that platform. So I'm quite sure, man, since 2008, when I wasn't even tracking this type of stuff, where I was tracking Blog Talk Radio, or they were tracking it, but my own platform, Black Talk Radio Network, I probably have way more than what they say 1 million. It probably would be close to 2 million or 3 million if I was using Blueberry Stat Tracker back then in 2008 when it was first created. All right, so it's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Oh yeah, some of the Facebook page projects that the nonprofit is managing. You can see them here on the left over here, left side of your screen. Yes, I do manage a White Lives Matters page. Let's go ahead and open that up. You might be like, well, what is Black Talk Media Project doing running a White Lives Matter page? Well, the White Lives Matter page is for disseminating stories about white people being brutalized by police. It's sort of like a counter to the Blue Lives Matter pages or the racist White Lives Matter pages. But it is just to show that police brutality affects us all, not just Black people. It affects us all: white, Black, Asian, Native American, Hispanic. It is an issue that we all should be concerned about. And it has many, many victims, but for whatever reason, the mainstream media typically only focuses on these type of stories where it's a white cop and a Black person who is allegedly being brutalized. They don't focus on white people being brutalized. I mean, it has to be really, really brutal for them or go viral on social media before mainstream media pick it up. So how many followers do we have on this page? I was looking, I still am looking for volunteers for this page. I just got one volunteer. I prefer that they be white, but you can be any color because we're not going to be showing our faces or anything. But I did have a white woman in my community volunteer to help post stories. And I believe, how many people are following this page? I think it's something like 1,200. Okay. And so this page does need a little bit more work. But it does have about 1,200 people following it. I'm looking for, there it is. 1,298 people follow this. So if I had some help, if I could hire employees, man, I think this page could really make an impact in decolorizing the police violence issue. All right, so we go back. What, of course, we have the Black Talk Radio Network page, Political Prisoner Radio. I still operate that page. I share stories about political prisoners in the United States. We used to have a political prisoner radio weekly radio show that came on, but people who were involved in that could no longer continue it for various reasons. So I still just maintain the political prisoner radio page on Facebook. I would bring it back if I had some volunteers of people who are knowledgeable, or if I had the funding to hire people. Then there is proxy racism. I don't really fool with this page that much, but I created a term that I call proxy racism to explain when you have non-white people who are advocating racist positions on the behalf of racist white people. Just take typically, stereotypically, admittedly, but Black Republicans, okay? Especially if they're advocating against justice and, you know, advocating against reforming some of these systems or abolishing some of these systems, then, and they're doing it for a paycheck, like a Candace Owens type. Yeah, I came up with a term for that type of behavior. I call it proxy racism. They're acting as the proxies of racists, but I haven't fooled with that page in years. Then there's the nonprofits page. There's the group Move to Abolish 21st Century Slavery, which is linked to our New Abolitionist Radio page. Why isn't my New Abolitionist Radio on here? Let me find out. Go there. It's probably been removed from my shortcuts. Now, New Abolitionist Radio is the award-winning podcast that I created in 2013 and co-produced and co-hosted, and it has 17,000 people following it, and it states it, New Abolitionist Radio seeks to educate the public and agitate for end of 21st century slavery and human trafficking. And I would say we've made an impact on the world and getting the message out that the 13th Amendment did not abolish slavery, but created a new form of slavery as punishment for crime. And just like policing affects us all, prison slavery affects us all. Now, it's still a popular podcast, even though it's no longer a weekly radio program. But we just started back posting podcasts to it and did a live stream last week. But that's one of the pages that we manage, you know, just sharing prison stories and anything related to 21st century slavery and human trafficking. Okay, of course, there's the Black Talk Radio Network page where we share funny stuff, serious stuff, political stuff, just, you know, all around news media website, excuse me, news media page for Facebook, on Facebook, I should say. So as you can see here, 24,000 like it, 25,346 actually follow the page. Okay, and again, we post the content from our media partners. There's one of our media partners, Intentional Talk Radio Network. They have a program coming up Tuesday. I've shared different articles. We used to help sponsor the Black Talk Media Project, this hip hop film festival in New York City, but you know, we had to stop that a couple of years ago. But it's good to see it still going strong, and it's nothing stopping us from sharing their content. Let people know about the hip hop festival, hip hop film festival in New York City. Abolitionist Today, one of the media partners. So again, I share the content obviously from the platform, Black Talk Radio Network. All right, so what's some of the other pages that I got? This is a new platform that we've launched. And I mean, it probably doesn't even have 10 followers yet because it's tied to a platform that I just launched about a month or so ago, working with some people. See, 2 people like it, 2 people follow it. This is a new platform that I've created to news and entertainment from Richmond, Virginia, Tidewater, and the DMV. You have local podcasters and broadcasters working on that platform, or that the Black Talk Media Project's working with to build that platform up. Let's see, let's go to our RVA Soul online, rvasoul.com. Okay, so there's an issue with them not being able to access it. So that's some work I gotta do. Wow. So yeah. But yeah, rvasoul.com is a news media website. All right. So that's pretty much it that I have to show you. Had a pretty strong week in distributing podcasts. The podcasts are distributed on just about every major platform. There's iTunes, Stitcher. What else are we on? iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, where you can listen to the radio stream. Oh yeah, I forgot to show that. Yeah, I wanted to also include showing the distribution of the radio, the digital radio station. Now we manage several radio stations, or I should say maintain them. And again, we do not charge people a whole lot of money. I did not start this organization to become a millionaire. And so I try to make things as affordable as possible because there's people getting ripped off, man, with digital radio and what have you. So here is our main station. It's only 2 people tuned in right now, but let's look at the past week. So yeah, I already had that up. I had just forgot to have a page up. So we're going to look at the listeners from the period of August the 9th, that was last Monday, to August the 14th. Or I should say, let me see, what was Sunday, Monday to Sunday, the 15th. So I should have said 15th on here. So let's go the 15th. What did we get in the past 7 days with the week starting on Monday? Update. Okay, listeners. So total listener minutes for this past week was 36,290. That breaks down to 604.83 listening hours. That was divided up between 1,210 listening sessions by 663 unique listeners in 36 different countries. And so our top countries were the United States, Philippines, Canada, Germany, United Kingdom, France, Brazil, Russia, Puerto Rico, and Australia. All right. So that's the digital radio station. And as I stated, we're on the major platforms. Matter of fact, if I go to tunein.com, you'll see we have quite a bit of subscribers on that station as well. All right, this is the podcast. I'm looking for the radio station. And here's the radio station. As you can see, we have nearly 9,000 subscribers on there. But again, not getting that is not turning into donations. It's very, very frustrating for so many people to find value in content that you're creating and helping others to distribute on a nonprofit basis, and yet they can't see the value in supporting the organization that's making it happen. All right, so but again, that's why I've created this Patreon, and we'll be doing some other things, doing whatever I can ethically do to keep this work going. So I hope that you will become a donor, and I thank you very much. And until next week, peace and blessings to all.